And this example 3 is what we were looking at the beginning, because now we got a square root, and now we're going to be putting one function inside of the other, so we'll do both a and b. So for a, we'll get that explicit equation first. We're plugging in f of x inside, so then we'll have g of the square root of x, and then when we plug that into the next function, we'll get the square root of x squared minus 4. So it'll just be x minus 4, which when you think of that, that's a straight line, right? Okay. And that straight line, it looks like this, slope of 1. And I'm going to draw the entire line right now, but what I'm going to say is if we look back to this point, can you see that at this point, if you would plug in a negative number, it would not be possible? At this point, plugging in a negative number is possible. But at this point before, x has to be bigger than or equal to 0. In fact, right from the beginning, x only works because f of x only works when x is bigger than or equal to 0. So when we get our final graph, which is x minus 4, which is the full line, we have to look back at our domain and see if there would be any problems at any time when we plug it in. And this, you have to look at this whenever you have square roots. So at this point, you would say, hey, wait a minute, this can only work if x is bigger than or equal to 0. So when I go to my graph, it's only going to be that part of the line. And now that I have that, I can state my domain, it's x is bigger than or equal to 0. For the second one, now we're doing g of x first. And when I do g of x first, g of x, its domain is everything, right from the beginning. So we're still okay to put any x into this one. It isn't until we plug in this into f, and f says take the square root of whatever you put in, that we have to say, wait a second, now we can't take square roots of negatives. So I know that this inside the x squared minus 4 has to be bigger than or equal to 0. Difference of squares, factors to x plus 2, x minus 2. So on our number line, minus 2 and 2. Yes?
Why do you have to do that? Because don't you always do what's inside first anyways?
Why do I have to? I'm just checking the domain here, but I'm wondering.
Why does it have to be bigger than 0? Like, I know you can't take the square root of negative, I know that. But like, if it was like negative 6, you would have to square it.
That's right. I'm not just saying that x has to be bigger than or equal to 0, but we're saying that this whole thing. And so if you do try negative 6, right? Negative 6 would give you positive 36 minus 4, which would be positive 32. Negative 6 works. So when I go down to my number line here, I just check something less than negative 2, and we found out that section is true. But if I would try 0, or even positive 1, 1 squared minus 4 will give us a negative. This section is going to be false. And if I try something larger than 2, like 10, 100 minus 4 is a positive number. You can take the square root of a positive number. That section will be true. So now the domain for this one is that x has to be less than or equal to negative 2, or x has to be greater than or equal to 2. And for this one, the questions you can do are 6, A, B, and C, and 10 as well.